Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the town hall. That is part of our initial effort to complete a search for the next president of the University of Texas Medical Branch. My name's John Zerwas. I had the distinct honor to serve as the co-chair for this committee. And with me is Dr. Kirk Calhoun, president of the University of Texas Health Science Center in Tyler. Also accompanied by two individuals from our firm, Isaacson Miller, David Belshaw to my left, and Courtney Wilkes-Mandel to my right. We are here to listen to you today. That's the primary focus of this, less about us. I will take a moment to tell you just who is actually on the search committee, and because some of those people are here, and I would ask that when I mention their name, if they would stand and be acknowledged. Three regents are participating in this committee: Regent Janice Longoria, Regent Jody Giles, and Regent Christina Melton Crane. Also with us will be Dr. Blake Rasmussen. Dr. Rasmussen, would you please stand and let people recognize you there? Dr. Dana Wild. I don't think Dr. George Karianopoulos is here with us. Yes, he is. Oh, is he? I'm sorry, George. Looking straight at you. Apologize. Dr. Mouton. Tyler Vaughn. Amanda Hancock. Where is she? Oh, what are you doing back there? Tilly Clark. Dr. Edgar Cortes. Dr. Cortes in the back. There's room up front here, Dr. Cortes. Mr. John Kelso. I don't believe Mr. Kelso is here. And Mr. Ross Moody. And I'm aware that Dr. Jan Puckett is not here today. And so with that, that's the introductions that I would like to make. Since we do have a very restricted time frame, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the search process per se, other than that this is the beginning of it. This is a very, very important part of it. And we're here to listen to you and to acknowledge what you think the next president of the University of Texas Medical Branch should bring and what you would see in 5 years as evidence of success. I would ask that because there's alternative ways for names to be submitted that are in the website and so forth, that we limit any kind of conversation as names being provided at this point. What we're really here for in the search firm is to understand what success would look like, what are the qualities that the individual should have, and the opportunities for names to be submitted can be done through the website or conversations with members of the search committee if that's necessary to try to get the names to our colleagues here. And there is an opportunity to submit those names directly to Isaacson Miller, and I believe we have an email for that, Courtney, don't we?
Yeah, UTMB president at imsearch.com.
And we'll make sure that that's readily available to you, but that would be the most prudent and the most effective way for names to be submitted. Dr. Calhoun, would you like to make any opening comments before we start taking testimony?
Well, let me just say it's nice to be back at UTMB. It's been a home away from home, and I certainly have a lot of good friends here and a close attachment to this island and to this university community. I just want to comment a little bit about the process. We're certainly very open for input via website and other means of input. I was here when Dr. James was here, and I was around when Dr. Stobo was selected, and things were done a little bit differently then. In fact, I remember multiple candidates coming to the campus to meet with faculty and staff and community members as part of the search process. It's not been done that way for a number of years, mainly because there are some very, very good candidates who have very important jobs right now who would be possibly wonderful for UTMB, but may be reluctant to have their names released this early because it could threaten their opportunities at their current institution. And I think all of you would agree that we don't want the very best candidates to be fearful to inquire about an opportunity here. And so it is done with a high degree of confidentiality until the regents make things public. And so if you can bear with us on that issue, realize that, we don't want to share names. We can't share names. Legally, we can't. There are now legal constraints in place on search committees about sharing information broadly and allowing this process to take place with enough confidentiality such that really good candidates will give a look at the opportunities here and consider coming to UTMB and accepting that kind of a leadership role. So that's the only caveat I wanted to share, because that is a little bit different from the way some of these searches were done many years ago.
I would also recognize with us is Chancellor J.B. Milliken, sitting in the back there. I know he's, can you raise your hand, Chancellor, so people know who you are? All right, yeah, I know he's trying to hide in the back row also, but, and then also with us from UT System is Dan Sharphorn, our General Counsel. He's here to address any questions that might come up with regard to a legal perspective, and also Rhonda Safety. Dr. Rhonda Safety is here also, who represents all the external communications, and a great deal of our philanthropic efforts all go through Rhonda. So with that, I would invite you all to start coming over to the microphone so that we can take your testimony. Again, this is a town hall about us listening to you and what are the things that are important that you think need to be considered in the next president of the University of Texas Medical Branch. And I'm going to start over here to my left. And if you would, tell us your name, identify your relationship to the community or to UTMB, and then maybe in just a few minutes so that we can hit everybody, give us your testimony, and this will all be taken and acknowledged.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I'm Clinton White. I'm a professor in the Infectious Disease Division, Department of Internal Medicine. And
Little louder, Clinton. Some of us are having a hard time hearing you. Get a little closer to the microphone there. Yeah,
okay,
there you go.
yeah, I'm Clinton White in Infectious Disease Division, Internal Medicine. Here also an appointment in the graduate school. And UTMB is an amazing institution, and there have been a couple of areas that we've particularly excelled in the past that I think are our strengths that need to be encouraged. One of our strengths has been indigent care with the prison system, and to some extent in the past more than now as a referral hospital for the state. But that's created great opportunities for the education of our trainees, and in particular, we've been excelled at training trainees from normally less represented groups, minority groups, less wealthy. And I think that it's very important that our next president has an understanding of the importance of indigent care and training of practitioners, particularly from underserved groups. The other area that we've excelled at historically has been basic science research, and particularly with, the Galveston National Lab at the center of the campus. It's important that our next president have a good understanding of those two areas. So it seems to me that those are UTMB's traditional strengths, and that we need a president who would have a good understanding of those things to continue that excellence and to build on it. And that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, sir.
Well, first, thank you for the opportunity to participate in this discussion. My name's Jim LeDuc. I'm the director of the Galveston National Laboratory. I'm also a faculty member here in the Department of Microbiology and Immunology. As you know, and as my colleague Dr. White just mentioned, the GNL is a national treasure. It's one of only two biocontainment facilities of this stature on an academic campus. And it has established itself as a major contributor to global health and national preparedness for emerging diseases. It's critically important that our next president understand not only the science that goes on there and is a strong advocate for the research and development that we undertake, but also understands the political context in which the mission of the laboratory is set. That means having a presence in DC, having an ability to understand and influence decisions that are made in Congress going forward. We've been incredibly fortunate, starting with Dr. Stobo, Dr. Callender, and now Dr. Raymer, of having leaders that have really appreciated this and gone forward and fully supported our activities. Going forward, I hope that we can continue to have that level of leadership. Thank you.
Dr. Leduc, if I could just ask you, and I would agree with you, the National Laboratory is a gem, and it's something that this campus in particular and this community should be incredibly proud of. What would you say in 5 years related to the GNL what would it look like? What would you say that the effectiveness of a president advocating for is it sustaining it, or is it actually reaching some higher goal?
Great question, and thank you for the opportunity to respond to that. We've been in operation about a decade now. During that time, we've established a solid base of scientific productivity and product development. Going forward in the next 5 years, I would hope that that foundation is sustained and grown within our capabilities. You know, there's only so much you can do within the walls that exist. But more importantly, I think the laboratory needs to have a greater role in setting the national objectives, being part of the national dialogue going forward on infectious diseases in general, whether it's antimicrobial resistance or preparedness for Ebola and all the steps in between. So I think that requires a more aggressive engagement with our congressional delegates, with leadership at NIH, and not only NIH, but the Department of Defense and other agencies that are engaged in this. So I think we have to be really forward-looking and engaged in a global fight against infectious disease. As you know very well, these diseases don't recognize borders. We're all at risk. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your leadership there, Dr. Leduc. We appreciate it very much. Yes, center microphone.
Yeah, thank you so much. Jeff Temple, I'm a professor in OB-GYN and also direct our Center for Violence Prevention. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to provide input. Really a couple of quick things that I hope that you guys consider when selecting our next president. UTMB, through the last 10 years, we've faced hurricanes and fires and basically anything that you can think of, and we've been through a lot of change, and we continue to persevere and continue to excel in basically everything: education, research, clinical. And what I'm really hoping is that we get some stability, and I don't know what that looks like, but someone that knows Galveston, knows Austin, knows DC, but really less change and give us an opportunity to excel without continued chaos. Thank you.
Let me just explore that a little bit with you.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, we can't, control the things that nature imposes upon you and everything. And Lord knows you've survived some of the worst out there and stuff. I'm not quite clear on what you mean by maintaining stability, less change. Can you unpack that a little bit for us?
I would like to unpack it, but before, when you opened it up, you said not to mention any names, but.
Well, no, I think the thing,
if you could remove the ad interim of someone.
What I mean by that is that if you're thinking of somebody that you would like for the search firm to consider in this role, that should go through those channels.
Sure,
and stuff,
absolutely.
But I think it would be very important for us to have a better understanding in terms of a quality of the president stability versus change.
I think someone that we know that we can look at. We are UTMBers. We love this university. We love this island, and we want whoever comes in as president to be someone who shares those values and who we know will be here in the years to come and will be right by our side and not looking to jump ship right when they get here.
Got you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Yes. Thanks for unpacking that for me. I appreciate that. So, Let's see, let's go over here, and then I'll come back to the center.
Good afternoon, and thank you again for this opportunity. I think this is a wonderful forum for us to open up and share some thoughts. My name is Dr. Vicente Resto. I'm a Vice President for Physician Integration and Strategic Alliance, and also the Chair of the Department of Otolaryngology. I echo everything you've heard, but I want to bring in a different perspective that we haven't really heard, and I think is equally as important, if not foundational, and that is the clinical enterprise. You know, at the end of the day, as we all know, things are changing. Payment models are changing. You know, funding sources are, if anything, just coming to be tighter. So the running the business of that clinical enterprise is critical. It's not only where we educate, frankly, it's where we get the dollars that pay most of the bills. And so looking forward, I think someone who comes in with a significant understanding of what not only the clinical enterprise management and running is like, but also someone who understands that the landscape is rapidly changing, that there's a ton of innovation that's happening willingly and unwillingly, and that we need to be nimble and we need to be proactive in how we engage, you know, that interface in order to best support ourselves. And as it pertains to UTMB, we are a bit different, as you know, from the rest of the system organizations, as we own quite a few hospitals. You know, and that already is sort of a dimension that I think is rather unique. And just standing a step further on that, we're now a system within ourselves with 4 campuses, 7 hospitals. I mean, this whole thing is a different animal now. It is really not a singular location anymore. And all of these are in emerging markets that I think, you know, all of which have competitive forces and a ton of highly relevant and important things to manage.
As it relates to the clinical enterprise and the comment of stability versus change, what would you see as success in the next 5 years? I'm sure strategically you all have a sort of some plan and the goals and things like that. Could you share that with us and what qualities the president should have, you know, in order to help you achieve that 5-year goal?
Well, I hope it's someone who would come in again with some fundamental skill sets, but someone who also has the patience to appreciate what we have going on. There indeed is a plan. It's a rather, you know, broad, it's a well-defined, detailed plan that we're unfolding. Phenomenal amount of work hours, you know, have gone into this. There is results we're already reaping benefits from. There are unique aspects to who we are, which decidedly make us a different clinical entity than some of our competitors in the market. For example, we have by far the largest primary care network in the Houston metro area. I mean, that's something that oftentimes remains unknown, and as such a foundational treasure that I would say is about as relevant and important as, say, the other gems we have like the Galveston National Lab and other areas. So this individual, I think, coming in and understanding that what that plan looks like, what is going on, the results have been reaped, I think speaks a little bit to Dr. Temple's point of some stability. At the same time, it needs to also be someone to understand that the name of the game these days is truly is change. So stability, yes, but at the same time, we can't help but manage the change that is being thrown at us.
Let me ask a question, and you can certainly expand upon it, and I would really welcome to hear from others. Academic medical centers are wonderful and very unique places, but they're very diverse in their nature. You know, you have hospitals that have to be run, you have a clinical practice that has to be run, we have students that have to be educated, the academic mission, we have a research mission. I personally view us as having a public health mission. You know, finding an individual who is strong in each and every one of those areas is a real challenge. So as you all sort of share your views with us, if you can share with me how you would differentiate that. You know, do you want someone who has vast hospital experience or someone who has great academic experience or great research credentials? How would you suggest the committee go about making those kinds of decisions?
I would answer that, you know, sort of in a hybrid way. I would say it needs to be someone who appreciates the fact that, in fact, all these aspects are real and comprise, you know, fundamental aspects of an academic medical center. I would hope that if someone who comes in with strong areas of expertise and frankly excellence in some number of subsets of those, but to your point, there probably is no one who would be outstanding and excellent in every single one aspects of it. But what I think would be core and completely necessary is someone who appreciates all the elements and who understands their relevance and importance and where they are not the strongest personally. Having understood the importance and the foundational contribution that an area may have, to appropriately delegate and find the strong individual who's going to be able to sit there and carry the torch in that arena.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Didn't mean to put you on the spot there for so long, but yes, sir, Senator Mike.
Hi. My name is Dr. Alfredo Torres. I'm a professor of microbiology and immunology and also the Chief Diversity Officer at UTMB. So obviously, as a researcher, I would like to see somebody that keep enhancing infectious diseases. And I think that's a jewel that we have here on campus. And I think in the UT system, I think we have one of the strongest infectious diseases programs in the state. However, I'm here talking about my role about diversity. So I would like to see an individual that understands the diversity that happens in this campus. Dr. Temple mentioned that we have survived hurricanes, a bunch of other natural problems. And the reason we survive is because we have resilience, and that's due to our employees. This campus is a unique environment that we have 70% female employees and 30% are males. And I think part of the resilience has to do with our female employees. And that has to do also with our faculty. So that's a unique environment compared with other UT system campuses. I would like to see somebody that understands that and enhance that diversity and inclusion that we see in this campus as our candidate.
Thank you, Doctor. And as you may know, there is a rule that we have that speaks to that. It's called UTS 187, I think, Dan, is that right? That speaks to, a requirement, if you will, that the committee take, the issue of diversity into consideration and stuff. So
yeah, but I'm not talking about whether the candidates are diverse. I'm talking about wherever the candidate is, comes here and understand our diverse environment.
Good.
And keep
Very good.
supporting that. Yeah, I understand that, obviously you have to interview different candidates, but that's not the point.
Okay, very good. Let me ask you, you're on the spot because nobody else is at microphone, so if you want to speak, you better get to a microphone, otherwise this poor gentleman's going to be stuck here for 30 minutes.
No problem, I can talk.
But what's your greatest fear, if you will, of the selection of a president? What's your greatest fear that would happen if, we bring the selection to you and the regents approve it and stuff? What would be your greatest fear of failure, I guess, in that regard?
That's an easy answer. Somebody that kills the morale that we have. Somebody that does not keep pushing us to be better. Somebody that just keep the status quo as it is, and then just keep bringing revenue dollars, just because that's mandated by the UT system, and not really enhancing the talent that we have here. That is somebody that will push the employees and the faculty to be better and come to work every day as we do it with pride. And we come back to this island, doesn't matter whether we have a hurricane or not, we come here because we love the institution.
So you went to a place where I wanted you to go right straight up, and that's morale. And would you give me a sense of what's the morale today and versus what it was maybe a year ago or something like that?
Should I keep my job?
Hey, this is a town hall, man. You gotta.
I don't care because my boss is Dr. Mutun and he understands. He knows that I speak with the truth. So he knows me and Dr. Barwas too. So I think one thing, and again, I speak for many people. I interact with faculty, with staff, and a bunch of people here. I think one of the things that was killing the morale of this institution is coming to these town hall meetings, and we're seeing that even though we were trying really hard to, reduce costs, reduce expenses, our numbers were still in the red, and we keep in the red. And every time, every year, we were still in the red, right? So I understand the situation that we were happening. But suddenly, somebody came and started talking in a different way. And even though we're still in the red, the way it's addressing the people in this institution is telling you, we are a family, we're still working together. So that small change in the conversation with people, and again, other people can tell you, perhaps my interpretation is wrong, that small change, people come out motivated and is still trying to get a better place.
Thank you, Doctor. Yes, sir.
Hi. Once again, thank you for taking our feedback, our input. My name is David Brown. I'm a Senior Vice President, Dean of the School of Health Professions, a very great school, by the way. I don't know if there's anyone in this room. I'd like you to consider finding an individual who understands how to lead teams of people. There is a lot of talent on this campus, a lot of people who know what they're doing and who can take charge. And what I think we want to avoid is an individual who comes in and literally takes charge and tells others how to think and how to do things, rather than listening to all the expertise on campus, taking it in, and working with that team to find the best solutions and the best practices. So a person who's team-oriented and a person who knows how to get the best out of the very talented people that are here.
How would you measure success of that, Dr.
Brown.
Yes, Dr. Brown.
Yeah.
Just with regard to the, I had the opportunity to see the opening and participate in the opening of the new Health Education Center, and
Yes.
It's all focused on teamwork and so forth. I mean, it's a great manifestation of that. What would you see as success in that regard?
Decisions that are made at the leadership level will be shared decisions. They won't be an individual imposing a decision on everyone else and everyone's asking, where did that idea come from, or I didn't. That certainly isn't the way we thought of it. So if decisions that are made are perceived as coming from a group of people, a team of individuals who really thought about it, and all the perspectives were addressed, I think it's a lot easier for the rest of us to go along with it.
Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Nikos Vasilakis. I'm a professor at the Department of Pathology and also the chair of the Faculty Senate. As you can tell by my accent, I'm an American by choice, but also most importantly, a Texan by choice.
There you go. You're right about that.
I arrived many years ago here at UTMB from industry, and the main attraction was the reputation of this place and the excellence that there was in infectious disease, the dream team of infectious disease. And now we are recognizably the leader, not only globally, but also nationally in infectious disease, as Dr. Leduc said, with the establishment of the GNL and our strong program. What I may say, over the past few years, our standing in terms of grant dollars and standing in terms of NIH standing, it has dropped precipitously. So what we would like to see in terms of leadership of the new president would be a person that understands all the missions of the university, not only the clinical enterprise and the challenges that they are facing on a daily basis in terms of the changing economics and so forth, but also on the other missions such as research, education, and so forth. So what that would it take? Most of it would be to be able to respect the teams that they are working to make this place great, to understand those, and most importantly, all these diverse groups, regardless if they're clinicians, regardless if they're faculty or nurse practitioners or so on, to be able to contribute to the conversation about our futures and not have top-down decisions that may affect us all adversely. We need to all unite and move forward together to make this place and maintain its leadership that we already have. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for your service as President of the Faculty Senate. That's no easy job. So with that, yes, sir?
My name is Jorge de la Garza. I'm a senior consultant on the organizational development team. And first, I just want to say I'm honored by the leadership that we have here at UTMB and also getting to hear from our leadership at UT System and above. One of our values at UTMB is lifelong learning, and looking into consideration for the future candidate for our president, I just would like to share that I would like to see someone that would continue to appreciate the value of lifelong learning at UTMB, and that would continue the strides that we've made in the professional development of our high potential, high performing, up and coming leaders. That will be the future of UTMB and beyond. And that's just a characteristic that I would like to see in our future president.
How would you measure success in regard to that?
Okay. Currently, we have a program that is sponsored by the Office of the President. So continuing to see that program grow and evolve and allow more people to come in through that program or other programs developed by UTMB, in reference to seeing how they could grow that leadership. And someone that would also continue to encourage our current leaders to invest in those that are up and coming and also looking to develop their future here.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Shannon Gill. I'm an assistant professor at the Center for Violence Prevention. And I'm here, one, to talk because no women have talked yet, and I just can't have that happen. And really to echo what a lot of people have said, both someone who understands the history of UTMB, the history of indigent care at UTMB, the diverse history of this island and this institution, and also someone who has a proven track record of putting people in leadership who are diverse. So again, we do have an amazingly diverse community, and I don't want someone who can just check the box of saying, yes, I believe in diversity, but I want to see who are the people that they have promoted and that they support underneath them. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hey there, I'd like to also thank you for soliciting comments from us today. My name is Eric Walzer. I'm the chairman of radiology here. I've got about 21 years of service off and on the island. And I wanted to make a pitch for a president that would really strongly support what medicine's going to be like in 5 or 10 years and not just in one. In other words, a strong commitment to research with NASA and future missions. Artificial intelligence is very important in my world of radiology and with my partner, Dr. La Posada, in pathology. So, you know, the robustness of our IT department is going to leverage this kind of technology and research and technology, not just here locally, but I think statewide and even nationwide. So I really think that a commitment to that advance of technology is important. I think our prior president did a great job in supporting projects at the local and the state level in telemedicine, which UTMB has got quite a bit of experience in. So I just wanted to add my comments in that regard.
Terrific. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And I think back over here to the left still, I think I saw you come up before the center mic. Yeah, so go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Lyn Hughes. I teach in physical therapy in the School of Health Professions, and I'm the immediate past president of the Faculty Senate. And I was very happy to hear you recognize the diversity on our campus and the diversity of our missions. And I felt compelled to come up to promote the academic side of things because I've heard lots about research. And we are great in each of these. And I understand that it would be hard to find somebody that had a strong background in each of these areas. I feel like in the past we've had people that have had a very strong clinical background And from what I've seen, most of our leadership is School of Medicine based. And it would be really nice to have a little bit different perspective on things. But I think more importantly than that is having integration again. Because right now we are very siloed in you are clinical based and that's your clinical mission is your number one mission. And there's a real push for that mission to be a primary mission. And we have such strengths across all of the missions. I would really like to see us integrate those things again instead of being siloed.
And when you say siloed, you're talking about the individual school, the professional schools? Is that what you're
Right.
saying?
So for the School of Health Professions, our number one mission is teaching. But there are a lot of us that want to do research. And we are still able to do those things. But it's very hard to get to a level of being a grant-funded researcher if you have absolutely no time to write a grant or to do the pilot data that needs to go along with that grant. So having more integration in being able to do multiple missions.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yes, right in the middle.
Hi, I'm Micah Woods. I'm the Associate Dean for Educational Affairs and School of Medicine and also the Interim Vice Dean for Academic Affairs. Thank you very much for having us today. And that was great. I'm happy to follow Lynn because I came up to talk about or ask about the academic healthcare center that we are. We start with the word academic. And it's why I came here. I'm not an MD. I'm in the School of Medicine. I'm a little strange in my roles. But academics for the School of Medicine is critical. It's not just for our students, it's for our residents and our faculty. And I would like us to see a president who understands, much as Lynn said, the integration of all of the pieces. It's very difficult to have a tripart or quadpart mission with faculty who came to an academic healthcare center to do academics, whether it is in clinical research, in bench to bedside, or in academic educational research, if we have not provided a support system and a place where they can thrive and move forward with that mission. And I'd like to see a president who recognizes that and supports us in moving that forward within each of our schools in a collaborative manner.
So is part of that just trying to understand that is it the opportunity, the time to be able to do the research and the things that are unique to an academic environment, or is it something more than that?
I think it's a combination of things. So this is my third academic healthcare center to work at, my fourth university. And I think what I've heard from faculty along the way, especially my clinical faculty, is it is both the time, but not to be disincentivized if you want to do education, not to be disincentivized because you're not creating as many RVUs. You still want to do clinical care, or you still want to be able to write grants. How do you do that and have time to teach? So thinking about how do you parse that out? How do you think about that in the APT process? How do you think about that as we're building departments and creating the budgets around that? How do we think about that as we pull people from various schools? School of Medicine doesn't just take MDs to teach, we pull from other areas as well. And how do we give our faculty the freedom to do that, especially if they have chosen to come and work in an academic healthcare center? They're not working at a private practice. They're working at a place here because they do have other areas that they can explore within their career.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Todd Kaiser. I'm a professor of medicine and infectious diseases. I arrived at UTMB on September 1st, 2008. I evacuated September 11th.
Wow, great timing.
In the past 10 years, I've seen incredible things being done here. Recovery from a disastrous hurricane, opening of more health centers, and expansion of the footprint of the university. And it really has been incredible. But with all that growth, I think there's been unintended consequences. And one of the unintended, or some of the unintended consequences have been a drift away from our other academic missions, away from research, or away from teaching and education, away from public service and having an impact on our community. And I would think that, for me, what success would look like in the next 5 years is to keep doing what we've been doing from the clinical point of view. I mean, it's been great, but we also need to then realign and get back to some of the core missions. And I think you've heard a lot of that from the various people that have been speaking, whether they're talking about research efforts or maintaining research efforts or giving people time to do everything. There's been such a focus on building the clinical enterprise that at times it's been rather oppressive. And I think that we need someone who can lead us in a way that people have already spoken of, someone who is collaborative, someone who can be a cheerleader, someone who understands us, someone who can be tough when they need to be, but also someone who can really lead us into the future. And I think we will really be a greater institution if we can get that.
So if I follow you correctly, growth of the clinical enterprise has been a good thing. It's been something that has allowed
That's correct.
allowed UTMB to really thrive. I mean, if you look at the financials, there's no doubt about that. But what you're saying is that it might be time to try to rebalance the missions, education, research, and clinical delivery of care. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And I don't know. I think I'm hearing the same thing as I listen here from other people as well. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Doctor.
I'm Mike LaPosada. I'm chairman of the pathology department. I've been here since 2014. And I'd like to say that along my journey, I've seen plenty of people who are good leaders, who have done something special in curriculum development and no education, who play a role in the clinical enterprise and have had a research experience with hundreds of papers and a theme for their productivity. So this is a question to you. Those people often don't want to be a president. What often happens is people who are on an administrative track from the age of 40 who've never really done much except a little bit of clinical work or a little bit of research stay on this administrative track and move up the ranks. So what you've heard from everybody is they're worried about missing their education or missing a research expert or missing a clinical person. My question to you is it hard to find such a person? Because if we take the people who have applied, it could be that we're seeing mostly those on the administrative track who don't have that experience in all three missions.
Well, good question, and it's really one that is at the basis for us bringing on really an incredibly well-known search firm in the form of Isaacson and Miller, and the principals that are here with us is to bring us a very, very robust number of people that might be interested in this. And as we listen to all of you and we continue to do all of our homework on the needs down here at UTMB, it's not necessarily to say somebody's just on some kind of an administrative track of any type at all. I think it's what we want to do is really uniquely find the person that fits which are the unique needs down here. This is a very special place in many ways, but it has things that we do here that are different than any of our other health science centers, Kirk. I mean, you're the president of one up in Tyler and stuff, but you don't have a prison hospital up there, and you're not the designated state hospital. And maybe some of the demographics are similar, which are challenging and stuff. But truly, the effort of this committee, with the assistance of our search firm, is to bring a very broad, very robust group of potential people that could come. And our job, which will be a hard job to do, but that's what we're here to do, is to winnow that down to the person or persons that would most best fit what you all have told us are the needs at this particular campus. I don't have any doubt that we will find some incredibly qualified people to come forward and meet the need. It's a bit of a work, bit of a lift for these people sitting up front, and then ultimately for the Board of Regents to make that decision. Kirk, do you have any comments on that?
I certainly hear what you're saying. For me personally, and this is just one committee member speaking, as I rank the importance of things, I think character is the first piece of what you want to see in your next president. Someone who is, and these issues have been brought up in the discussion today, someone who will be honest, great integrity, who will be dedicated, who will buy into the mission, who will support the mission. That individual does not necessarily have to have a long career in research, but they need to understand it enough to pick the right leaders to help lead your research enterprise. With regard to people who've been on sort of an administrative track, and that's been my life, you're going to need someone who has some experience and some success, in my opinion, at leading a large, complex organization. If the most that they've had an opportunity to lead are 20 people in their lab, that does not, in my mind, in and of itself, qualify them to run UTMB, which is a much larger, more complex, more challenging. You're going to need some political experience because you have to deal with the legislature. You got, as was mentioned earlier, you got to go to Washington. You know, a president's job is, in my mind, someone who can lead and bring resources back to help make the university successful. So you're probably going to find someone from the ranks of administrative leaders who have that kind of experience with a large, complex, challenging organization. It's almost an essential element of what you're going to need to find in your next president.
Thank you for the question. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Julie Kutak. I'm an assistant professor in the School of Medicine's Physician Assistant Studies. And I'd like to integrate some of the things that you said and talk about what I hope are questions that you ask of the candidates. My background is in medical humanities, and we study the social, cultural, and moral forces within medicine and biomedical research. And what I would hope that the top candidates have is the ability to deeply articulate what their moral obligations are and what their values and commitments are. And not ones that pay lip service to things like professionalism writ large, but who can unpack those ideas, because I think that has been a real asset that UTMB has had, are people who have studied moral issues in medicine and medical education and biomedical research deeply and can talk about them in rich and robust ways. So I would hope that our candidate could also do that and could reflect that commitment as well.
Very good. Thank you for that comment. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Joan Richardson. I am a pediatrician. I'm the chairman of the Department of Pediatrics. I've been at UTMB for a long time, and
4 or 5 presidents, maybe.
and I have a great affinity for this place. Actually, I have an irrational affinity for this place. What I would like for you to give me as a president, and Kirk Calhoun, I'm so glad you're on the committee. There are 2 things. It's called character and it's called competence. And by character, I mean, give me somebody that I can trust and give me somebody who's worthy of my trust. And by competence, I mean knowledge and skills. I mean somebody who knows this place for what it is. It's a special place. It's a unique place. It's not like any other place. Somebody who has the knowledge of this place, somebody who has the knowledge of this community. UTMB is extremely important to this community. And somebody who has the skills to operate and oversee an incredibly, unbelievably complex system, and who also has the skills to utilize the people who are here. Frankly, we don't need an ID person as president. We got enough world-class ID people. We just need a president who will get out of those people's way and let them do ID. So please, think about that. Think about me when you're selecting this person. Don't think about me for the person. Just think about me when you're selecting this person and make me happy.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you for that clarification. Yes, sir.
I'm Hani Srak from Center for Global and Community Health. I think for me, the most important in a candidate is to be able to go outside the sustainability of the system itself and the institution to also focus on the impact. So in other words, to keep the balance between sustainability of the institution and its serving in the community. So to make sure that what we produce as knowledge from research is influencing policy. So it's making impact. To make sure that health services we are providing is not just clinical, but also for public health and enhance health indicators of communities we are living in. And also to be able to engage community in the decision-making within the university, so to have community institution rather than just the academic institute is sitting within the community without functioning and serving it. So to translate the production of the university to real outcomes influencing policy at local, national, and hopefully global level.
How do you define community?
I'm looking at the community in many different ways. It includes individuals, so talking about indicators for individual health, but also communities and population health. So we are not just serving individuals, but we are serving groups. We are serving different population and diverse groups that include ethnic diversity, that include gender diversity, and so on. So I'm talking about the diverse community and all aspects of it. Individuals, organizations, networks, morals, and so on.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Hi, I'm Cara Pennell. I am an assistant professor in the graduate school in the Department of Preventive Medicine and Population Health. Sorry, I paused because we just changed our name within the last month. And I'm also the director of the public health program. I don't think I have anything new to add, but I want to echo what several other people have said. Some of the characteristics that I would like to see are someone who values transparency, someone who promotes shared trust so that leadership trusts faculty and staff to be good at what they do and to do that every day. And then on the reverse, that faculty and staff trust leadership. And then finally, I'm glad that several people have mentioned diversity because I think we need someone doesn't just understand and value diversity, but also prioritizes and dedicates resources to equity and inclusion.
Very good. Thank you very much. Yes, middle microphone.
Hi, my name is Miso. Miso like miso soup. And so when you open the menu, you can also think about me. And I'm also a research fellow with Hani at the Center for Global and Community Health. And I think I hope the president would know our strengths and as well as able to collaborate with other UT schools. To my knowledge, like for example, we have worked with other supply chains like buying the staff stationery together to save cost as a UT system. So it's a good thing for us, and not only the saving the cost in terms of stationery, maybe we can also share the data, share education approach, or exchange students or faculty or something like that. And so I hope the new president would be able to collaborate with other UT schools. And the second is the president, in my view, should know that health is not just the absence of disease. And just based on WHO definition, health is like socially, physically, and mentally well-being. And we have a President Cabinet Award, like Hani said, it's a good opportunity for us to support our community because patients within the building, they are our patients, but outside of the building, they are our friends and neighbors. And we use the President Cabinet Award to support them to improve the health. But it's just a 1-year grant, and what's the impact is probably limited. And if we continue to have the support from President and even the Vice President Cabinet Award or something like that to make a bigger impact to our community and to promote health, that would be wonderful in my view. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that input. Let's see.
Sorry.
Hang on just a second. I'll probably make this the last comment, okay? So we will have to stop after this point, but please know that I'll just remind you, you can continue to engage in comments and activity through the website and stuff, and that will be set up so that you'll have that opportunity to do that. So with that, please.
Thank you for the spotlight. So I hope to, end this with a good impact. But I just wanted to say, my name is Rowan Herrera. I'm purely an administrative support person here at UTMB. I've been here for 2 years, but I've been part of the UTMB family for 20. And when I say that, I mean I've gotten all my care here from UTMB ever since I've grown up here in the state of Texas. I love League City, I love Galveston, that's where I'm from. So I'm just saying that I want a president who understands to recognize the talent and the resources in the area surrounding UTMB, and hopefully wants to continue to engage someone like me in the future. So in the next 20 years, when we have to choose another president, this room is so much more packed with other youth just like myself. And that's how invested we are, because we want to make sure that we're going to continue the work that we're doing. And that's the kind of president that I'm looking for, that he has everyone engaged. So the next time he or she has to leave, everyone in this institution is in this room putting in their 2 cents just like we are.
Thank you. That was a great note to end on. And on behalf of my colleague, Dr. Calhoun, and our colleagues from Isaacson Miller, I want to thank you all for coming here and being with us, and the members of the committee that came and participated and sat and heard everything that you said that Dr. Calhoun and I heard up here and stuff. So thank you all for taking the time to do that. This is a very, very serious job for us. We will take it that way, and your contribution to us getting to the right place is incredibly appreciated. Thank you all very much.